So we did a show called Over the Garden Wall with Pat McHale for
Hmm.
Cartoon Network, and Frederator, who's the production company on Costume Quest, was approached by, or sorry, they approached Pat to make the pilot for this uh, video game turned into a show from Double Fine Productions. So they made like Grim Fandango and Curse of Monkey Island and all those games,
Okay.
and they wanted to turn their game Costume Quest into a TV show, and so they got Frederator behind them, and then Frederator asked Pat to make the pilot, and then we had just done the score for Over the Garden Wall with Pat, so he said, "Oh well, we'll just get Blasted Company to do the score for the pilot." And that was in 2015, and then finally Amazon came around and decided to turn the pilot into a real show.
Gotcha.
So
Gotcha. Awesome.
yeah, that's how it started.
Okay. All right. Before I ask you the next question, are you do you have your camera on? And I didn't know. I just see the profile picture. And know if
Here, let
you
me
turned it
see.
off.
Let me try and turn it on. I'm just in my I'm in the parking lot at my son's school. Just picked up my son.
Ah, don't sweat it, man. You're all good.
So here we go. Let me see.
Ah, there we go. Okay.
All right,
Um,
cool.
Awesome. So I was so my next question is, and that's actually a great segue, is can you talk a little bit about uh, the fact that the project that you were that you're a part of with Costume Quest, as you said, it was a video game before, so having that already established IP or fandom that comes with that, you know, did you feel any expectation in joining the show and having a hand in its music?
Sorry, clarify the question. I missed, you broke up on a really important part of the question, so I missed the question part of it.
Oh, you need me to repeat it?
Yeah. Sorry.
You need me to repeat it?
Yes, please.
Okay, no worries. No, what I was saying was is seeing that it has being that it is a property that is was once a game. Um, did you feel, seeing that it is like an established IP and likely has its own established fan base, that you feel any expectations on your end, or pressure, I should say, of providing the music for something that has been established, you know, elsewhere in another medium?
Yeah, for sure. So that was a big moral quandary at the beginning when we did the pilot. Um, is we had kind of thought maybe the composer who wrote the music for the game might be a better fit for uh, for doing the music for the show because
Okay.
we had a relationship to Pat, um, but neither of us really had a relationship to the game. Um, and so I started playing the game and like listening to the music and getting into it, and I was like, okay, I see the mood. But then I thought um, maybe we should try and reach out to the composer of the game and see if he's interested in how that works. But I think that basically, ultimately, Amazon came down and said that they are trying to break, like they don't need it to be the same as the game, and they wanted us to go in sort of our own direction and like this other kind of John Carpenter direction, and so it ended up kind of taking a turn. I think they wanted the show to be somewhat separate creatively from the game, is my understanding.
Gotcha, gotcha. And you must be a mind reader, because I was actually going into my next question. The next segue that I had is the fact that I understand that much of the music that you're doing with the show brings various elements. Um, so it has an element of, I understand, some jazz elements. It also has some elements that kind of highlight the action elements that are a part of the series, and then lastly, just like you said, it has something that's more, from what I understand, out of the box with what you have with the John Carpenter sensibilities. So can you talk a bit about that, and what instruments accompany those styles?
Yeah, so the jazz for me, because I'm a pianist, so that was probably the most fun for me. And once, hey, Mortimer, you want to run back into the school and go pee there? You can come back. Okay, my son has to go pee.
No
Okay.
worries.
Okay, okay. So I think with the jazz was the most fun, studying Vince Guaraldi, and then I started getting obsessed with McCoy Tyner and listening to uh, basically piano trio music, and like early Coltrane records, and trying to understand how those chords work. And I don't know, that was it was really exciting for me to nerd out on that kind of jazz, like 50s, early 60s
Oh,
piano trio
sure,
jazz.
sure.
Because they wanted that Vince Guaraldi stuff, and I knew that Vince Guaraldi came out of that tradition, from basically Bill Evans and McCoy Tyner and all those, the piano greats from that time. So that was probably the most fun. And then the Power Rangers action stuff was challenging from a production standpoint, that we had never we had never been challenged to. It's like not music that we normally play or music that we normally listen to, and to make straight up cartoon action music was kind of challenging for us. So that was probably the most difficult. And hopefully, I guess when you watch the show, hopefully it comes through and those action sequences are exciting. And then the John Carpenter was kind of the most just the most like candy, like fun, because we got all these analog synthesizers, and it was almost like Stranger Things or something like that. It was just really scary kind of synth sounds, and we stayed up real late at night and we're just playing with knobs. And I think that music is just that was like the icing on top, when you're done with a day's work, like, okay, let's make some John Carpenter music, that'll be fun.
Well, with that being said, I mean, with Carpenter, there is a maturity to it. So was there any fine balance that you had to find with that particular style, considering that it is, still at the end of the day, for younger viewers versus adults?
Yeah, I think a lot of what ended up happening is toning things down in post. So like we would, we'd be recording it and it would be like something, and then we say, oh, that's probably like a little too crazy, a little too scary, and we'll tone it, and then we'll kind of delete things and basically tone it down. And the directors, Nick and Brian and Will, like they really helped us, just giving us notes and saying, you guys, like, that's cool, but that's way too much for kids. So that the notes process is really helpful during that.
All right, awesome, man. Well, I guess my last question is: a lot of times with shows like these, especially when it deals with like ensembles, you have two elements that you're dealing with. You're dealing with perhaps the individual themes that you have for the characters themselves that are a part of the ensemble or the group, and then the overall theme that you have for the group when they are working together as a unit. Is that something that came into play with this show as well for you all?
Yeah, for sure. Anytime the wait, I just want to make sure I understand the question correctly. So you're talking about the theme when all four characters are together.
Correct. And then a lot of times the characters themselves will have their individual themes, especially when we're like getting into kind of the nuts and bolts of like who the characters are and that type of thing.
Exactly. Yeah. So we got really nerdy about trying to give, that's like kind of film composition 101 trick, to try and give the characters these themes, and then you can kind of develop it. And so with Costume Quest, we got really lucky, basically, that we wrote these themes basically on the first episode, hoping that it was going to work out. and then, and then I think by the end of the season, I guess that hasn't come out yet, but when they release the second half of the season, you'll see that we got really lucky, and it was like, oh, the themes actually work, like they actually fit together and they make sense. And I think going into the pilot, you don't know it's gonna work out. You're just like, oh, that's kind of a cool theme for her, and like that's kind of cool. And then you just cross your fingers basically and hope that it's gonna work. And on Costume Quest, we were definitely very lucky that it did work.
All right, awesome, man. Well, again, thank you so much. Thank you for your patience. I know we were on both of our ends. We were having some technical issues on both ends, but no worries. But
thank you so much for taking the time to interview us.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. Thanks for taking the time to speak with us. Good luck to you guys with the show, and then also, we didn't even get into the other stuff that you guys have with your tours outside of the show. So good luck with that as well.
Thank you so much, and good luck with Movers and Shakers. It looks awesome. We're gonna watch a bunch of back stuff.
All right, cool, man. Thanks so much, and hopefully, who knows? Especially with a show like Costume Quest, it deals with where we have like cosplay, that element too. Maybe I'll see you at a con, man.
Awesome.
All
right.
All right.
Hopefully meet you soon. All right,
bye.